Worked for two M16s. 1, 3, 4. Who owns the story? History is not only written by the winners. It is edited by the powerful, repeated by the trusted, buried by the embarrassed, and remembered by people who were never allowed into the room. Every nation has a story it tells about itself. A story about courage. A story about progress. A story about who saved the day, who caused the damage, and who should be thanked for whatever remains. But stories are never neutral. What gets included matters. What gets softened matters. What disappears matters most of all. War can become a victory without mentioning the bodies. A corporation can become a symbol of innovation without mentioning the workers crushed beneath its success. A politician can become a hero because the cameras arrived after the compromise, the threat, and the deal had already been made. A neighborhood can be called dangerous after its schools were abandoned, its jobs were shipped away, and its people were blamed for surviving what was done to them. Change the frame, and you change the meaning. That is why control of the story is control of the public. We do not experience most events ourselves. We inherit them through headlines, documentaries, textbooks, speeches, algorithms, family memories, and voices, with enough reach to sound official.
Someone decides where the story begins. Someone decides where it ends. Someone chooses the photograph. Someone chooses the expert.
Someone decides which suffering deserves a name and which suffering becomes a statistic. The most effective propaganda does not always invent a lie. Sometimes it tells the truth with the center removed. It presents one fact without the chain of events that produced it. It shows the explosion, but not the fuse. It shows the arrest, but not the desperation. It shows the protest, but not the years of silence that came before it. Then the audience is invited to judge the final scene as though nothing happened before the camera turned on. Once a version is repeated enough, questioning it begins to feel like betrayal. People defend stories because stories become identity. They tell us who our people are, who our enemies are, what we are permitted to regret, what we are expected to celebrate. So when evidence threatens the story, many people do not examine the evidence.
They attack the person carrying it.
Not because the facts are weak, but because the identity built around the old version feels too expensive to surrender.
Governments understand this.
Corporations understand it. Political parties, media, empires, movements, and influencers
Understand it.
They know whoever names the crisis often gets to define the solution. Call poverty a personal failure,
And the answer becomes punishment.
call it a structural failure,
And the answer becomes reform.
call dissent dangerous,
And censorship becomes protection.
call surveillance safety, and privacy begins to look suspicious. Words do more than describe reality. They build the walls around what people believe is possible. But the story does not belong only to institutions. It belongs to the worker whose name never reached the report, the family whose loss became a footnote, the veteran who returned to a country eager to praise the uniform but unwilling to hear what the war cost.
The parent, teacher, neighbor, mechanic, nurse, farmer, and child who lived through decisions made by people they would never meet.
Their testimony may be imperfect. So is every official record
That does not make every claim equally true. Memory can fail, rumors can spread, anger can distort.
The answer is not to reject every institution or believe every outsider. The answer
Is to compare, to question, to trace the source, listen for the missing voice to ask who benefits from this version and who disappears inside. Because truth rarely arrives as a polished speech. Sometimes it comes in conflicting pieces. Sometimes it forces us to admit our side was wrong. Sometimes it demands that we rewrite the story we have been telling about ourselves. That is not weakness. That is integrity. A foundation cannot be rebuilt with a history designed only to protect pride. It must be rebuilt with the whole record. The victories and betrayals, the sacrifice and greed, the promises kept and the people abandoned. So, who owns the story? The answer should be all of us. Not because every version is equal, but because no government, corporation, party, platform, or movement should be allowed to own the only microphone. When the people lose the right to tell what happened, they eventually lose the power to decide what happens next. Next episode. 141. Neighbor versus neighbor.